So just like to give that informational warning ahead of time. It's wonderful. Well, I'm glad everybody's here to join us. And tonight we're going to be, I don't know if any of y'all did anybody get to come to our birthday bash last week? Yay. Yay. All right. Good. And like I said, we do have a few instructors and graduates. We have Barbara here and Penny and Shayna, and I feel like I'm missing somebody. Nope, I think that's all right now. So welcome. Thanks for being here with us. So we're going to go ahead and take a deep dive into this right now and just start sharing away. And this way, if y'all have any questions, I'll definitely open up for, let's see. Oh, Penny, for some reason, it says when Smart Notes hits, it may kick you out. So come back in. I don't know why. That's weird.
That's weird, but.
There it goes. See, I'm glad I gave her the warning. I gave her a good warning. We'll give her a second to come again because she's also a co-host on here for me. So, all right. Well, we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to take a journey onto our discovery where we're going to talk about the profound world of death and end-of-life doula work. This is a calling, not just a profession, but it is a profession. And it's really deeply rooted in compassion and service. And the work of an end-of-life doula is definitely exclusive. When we say exclusive, we mean that it's a path chosen by those who feel a deep personal connection in supporting individuals and families during one's life most critical transitions. It's about providing comfort, dignity, and respect at the end of life, as well as being an advocate. This calling, again, is not for everyone, and it is really what makes it so special is that it's so sacred. It's a sacred role that requires empathy and patience and unwavering commitment to honoring the unique journey of each individual. And I have literally, when I say I have set bedside for thousands of people, I mean that because I've been doing that since I was 15 years old. So I've literally, have been there with families. And so it's a journey. It really is a journey. And, you're either meant to do this or you're not. And you'll hear some new things that we're going to talk about and some things to give you to think about. So my name is Anna. I am the founder of International Doula Life Movement. I have been in the end-of-life care for over 25 years. I started IDLM to shape this next generation of doulas. We, as doulas, I been in your shoes where I was looking for a program, went through a highly expensive program that honestly really sucked. I'm just going to be open. I used to be a little bit more, I didn't say it nicely, would say it a lot more nicer, but you know what? And I just actually spoke to a student today, a potential student today who's looking at programs, and we were talking, and really it's become more of becoming a public figure and trying to catch the cash. And that's not what we are here at IDLM. At IDLM, I still work. I have my own doula's private practice. I own a personal care home, which we specialize in end-of-life care. I also work on staff with hospice as well, on top of everything else. So I created this program because I saw a big, and I'd have to say, we had our birthday bash last week. We just turned 5 years old. And hearing from participants that came to see us, that I knew that we were on the right track of what we're doing here at IDLM, because many of the people that we were talking to and listening to at Birthday Bash said exactly what we here at IDLM choose and trailblaze forward not to be, because their experiences. And, so we want to definitely move forward into a good stepping stone of what we're doing in end of life. And honestly, you don't need to just know about, how do I say this? It is not about just showing up. That is a big part, but you need to know what's going on. You need to know the path of what directions and your resources to direct your families. I get calls all the time in my private practice for people saying, and this is not to say that hospices are bad. It is to say that not all hospices are not created equal. And number two, what exactly is the family taking in? Because it's not necessarily the hospice that didn't do or say their things. They probably did. It's just the family didn't receive that information when they had that open space, or has not had that open space to receive that information and process. So being present and being there and listening, but the calls that I get are, I feel like I'm not being supported. I have all these questions. And so I'm having to rush out hours before someone's death to go and explain basically what I call my hospice 101 to families. And doulas have to know where to meet the families at. They need to know how to direct them. They need to know when to be quiet and when to talk, when to listen, when to be there and be that supportive, and how to handle that information that you're receiving and what your next steps are. So been doing this for, like I said, since I was 15 years old. I've worked on hospice crisis care team in the crisis care and inpatient units as well for hospice care, and been doing this so long now. But we're going to dive in a little bit about the IDLM story and why we're so unique in the doula community. First important thing that I want to note for you is that there are no official governing bodies over doulas. This means our organization, the International Doula Life Movement, plays a crucial role in setting standards and providing accessible, comprehensive training for end-of-life doulas. Our commitment extends beyond just training. We foster a family-like community that supports each member through their journey. This is a sense of belonging that gets us set apart from all the other schools, making our approach both inclusive and supportive. And we're not going to nickel and dime you for everything. I hear all the time, oh yeah, now we have a debt collective, but it's $50, $100 for the membership. No. When you come to IDLM and be a part of our family here, that really is truly what you are. You're a part of the family. We all have connections. I have very good relationships with all of our graduates and students here at IDLM. So our approach is very, very different. And we're going to dive into more specific of our accessibility and commitment soon. But for now, I just want to recognize that our focus is on community, on training that is quality, and that makes us a leader in this field because we are so committed and so passionate about what we do here at IDLM. As you can see listed on your slides here, you'll see that we're going to hit a lot of topics tonight. So I'm going to kind of go through, if you can just take some notes, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and I won't leave until the very last question is answered. So what is an end-of-life doula? Okay, so first, the essential understanding that death doula, end-of-life doula, they're all interchangeable, okay? But we're non-medical professionals, and our focus are in supporting families with terminally ill patients by addressing not just their physical needs, but their emotional and spiritual aspects as well. So this is really, truly a holistic approach. Doula work doesn't just begin at end of life. It begins now. Every single person in this world right now needs a doula. It's a unique, we're very unique as death doulas because we work with clients before that terminal illness is diagnosed, where this is a proactive engagement that ensures individuals and wishes and holistic carers needs are well understood and respected throughout that process. Remember, the role of a doula is all about, compassionate guidance and support and providing comfort care during one's life, challenges and transitions. But in the next slide, we're going to explore more specific tasks that support of things that we can do as doulas. And again, everybody as a doula, each and every practice here, that, my practice is different from Barbara's, and my practice is different from Penny's. We're all have different types of what we do in our practice, and that's okay. That's the beautiful lining of what we do as a doula. But We're there to provide and create space, right? That's the number one thing there. We're providing that sacred space of open communication and talking about their wishes and exploring. We're there to provide emotional and spiritual support, both for the person transitioning and their loved one, their family. We can initiate an essential conversations about the dying process, which can bring comfort and clarity during uncertain times. In addition, we also support family members and staff in self-care and helping to reduce burnouts and emotional fatigue. This is a holistic approach that we like to take as well to ensure that everyone involved feels supported and cared for. Another key part of our role is education about the stages about the dying process, which can demystify what is happening and encourage peace of mind. We also acknowledge the mysteries and the unexplained events that can occur during the dying process. And this is going to help offer that compassionate presence and support that families need. We also can do what I like to call angel vigil watches. This is where, we are at bedside. Now, I do want to say that doing a vigil, not every doula is going to do vigil. And I just actually had this conversation with our assistant executive director the other day. If I'm able to start sooner rather than later with the family, and if I am able to really educate them, guess what? They don't need me sitting there at the bedside with them. They're calling me and saying, you know what you told me about this? It's happening. Oh, okay. Why do you believe that that's happening? And we can talk it through. I don't necessarily have to be there 24/7 with the client. Now, I will say that a lot of times the ones that want you there with them over that time is maybe someone who has no other support system around them, or a lot of my elderly clients when they're losing a spouse, a partner, is when I find that I'm there. But a big part of our work is advocacy, not only for our clients, but also for their families. We engage in legacy work, which is really helps allow them, the patients, the residents, families, whatever you want, however your terms, your clients, to allow them to reflect on their lives, leaving them meaningful memories for their loved ones. We have found, and many times that we have been able to find out things about our loved ones that we're working with, that they did something and not even the whole family knows about it. They never even knew that they did this. And so it's really amazing to leave that legacy and then also sharing those meaningful memories with them. We are constantly offering comfort and support and presence during a time that can be really feeling isolating. A lot of times what I hear from families is, all my friends are not around anymore. When I started to take care of my mom, everybody left me. Nobody's around me to support me. They say or they talk about it, but they're not there anymore. Some of our disease processes, it takes years of a process. And guess what? Those friends start drifting away, family starts drifting away, and then they just leave that caregiver to fully support, and they don't have that support, help that they need. So we're able to help ease that burden and ease that transition and be that support for them. We can also provide grief support, ensuring that both the client and the family have that emotional resources they need. We can also assist with funeral, memorial planning, going through all different types of just navigating the medical system is really, really one I hear constantly. Being able to support and really help them navigate that medical system, because as you all know, our medical system is broken. It's not easy to navigate. And so it can get very confusing for people. But these are different roles that we can support families holistically during their journey. So when did people start using the term death doulas? Well, the term was used way back since 1980s, before then probably, but in the 1980s, it was related to birth and postpartum care, which applied then not until about 1990s, when it applied to death care in the late 1990s. But think about it. Who cared for the sick before they, when they were sick back in the day? Who cared for them? Family. Someone stayed behind and supported and helped take care of them, right? So, and then who made the coffin? they knew that the person was sick and was getting close to death. Someone went out and made the coffin. So end of life doula work, really think about it, has been around for many, 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 many years, because we were already doing it. So a big question I get is, are certifications needed? No, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just here at IDLM. We go straight to the chase. We don't lie. We don't sugarcoat nothing for you. We just tell you what it is, right? So at this time, certifications are not required for doulas, but many programs are solely based on personal experience of their creators. While these individuals may have practiced 10, 15, 20 years ago, their approach often reflects those past experience. And I can tell you firsthand from my doula practice before COVID was different, during COVID was different, and boy, has it really gotten different after COVID. And it's constantly changing, constantly. So some of these so-called certification programs amount to little more than just discussions and lacking really the depth and focus that's required for, the true dedication of training. Worse yet, some programs have even dismissified false information, improper practices, a concern we hear quite frequently from our students who have witnessed firsthand coming from other programs. At IDLM, we believe that certification is essential. We provide a comprehensive, in-depth education that grounds in current practices and knowledges that we bring from all of our instructors. Our instructors are not just only experts in their fields, but they're actively practicing professionals, ensuring that they stay connected to what's happening today and not just what happened years ago. We also recognize that it's only a matter of time before the death industry adopts a formal guideline and certification requirements to establish professional standards. But here at IDLM, we're preparing for that future. We started preparing for that future when we open. When I started IDLM, that was my open mind concept, is that we have to be prepared that one day there might be accreditations that have to happen. So we came into this being with that mindset that could already happen. And so we go beyond the basics of just bedside support and comforting the dying. We provide robust, current, up-to-date information. We're constantly updating our information, where we just revised, and I'm going to share with that a little bit with you, our curriculum, because we had to make some updates with changes that we were just seeing way too much happening in the life realm of work. But they're designed to prepare our students to be able to handle things when they're out there working as a doula. And IDLM as a whole, or when that day comes for certification, when it becomes necessary to standard for end-of-life doulas, we're going to already be there. Certification programs, though, should really offer what can help you make informed decisions, whether you're considering working with a doula or becoming one yourself. It really does kind of guide you. And I'll share an example. For example, and this is why I feel it's very important to have formal training, because I spoke at a conference a few years ago, and a funeral director said, "Oh, this doula kept a baby for home for 5 days." What? And he's like, "Yeah." And we tried to talk to her and she shut us down. She wouldn't listen to us. And I was like, well, that wasn't one of IDLM's, because IDLM doulas know to know their state regulations. They know to know what the process is for their area. And we encourage and want our doulas to become embedded into their community, to get to know their funeral directors. But they never notified. That doula never notified the funeral director. And guess who got the big cut, the big bite of getting in trouble? The funeral director, because the funeral director is the one that's held responsible to reporting the death. So prime example as to why it's so important to have that training. Another example is I had a student who was really, really excited about doing her doula work. She actually went out on her own and found someone to mentor. And she said, "Anna," she called me a few days later. She said, "Anna, I found someone I went and mentored with." And I said, "Oh, really? How did that go?" She said, "It was a crazy show." I said, "What do you mean it was a crazy show?" She said, "Number one, the girl has no formal education." She says, "Everything that you told us not to do in our training, she does. And I can see why it is a crazy show with her." There is no boundary set. There is no, the information. She goes, and what really upset the student was the lady was even yelling at her and was disrespectful to her, not only to her, but to the family themselves. So much so, they like the professionalism of our IDLM student that went in, they offered her to take over the job from that other doula. We have had hospices in Atlanta. You know, Pam is in Atlanta, and we have quite a bit of doulas there. They can tell who our IDLM doulas are in that area. One of our students, she's amazing, and the nurse came out and she said the person had died. She said, "Oh, you're a doula?" She says, "Yes, ma'am." And so she says, "Well, you train with Anna and Pam." She says, "Yes, ma'am, I am an IDLM graduate." She goes, "I can tell by the way you gave report. I can tell by the work and seeing the patient that you came from IDLM." So, and later on, we got to speak with the CEO of that hospice, and they had actually met with another doula in that area. But that doula went, now I'm going to say this because our work requires a little woo-woo-ness, okay? But this doula was way too woo-woo and went into this meeting talking about clearing people's chakras and doing this and that. That's not what the hospice wanted to hear. And so they dismissed her and was done with it. Then when they met Pam, and Pam had to explain to them, no, that's not how doula work is all about. So I do feel that it is important to have training. And there has been talked about in a certain organization saying, oh, we're teaming up that does, you know, a certification to make a doula certified. But here's the thing. They're not holding schools accountable to training. You have training programs that are more spiritual, that are more getting in touch with your own mortality. They're not actually teaching what a doula could actually do out there. And you're not holding those schools accountable. And that's why we have a wide range, which is okay that we have a wide range of people that have different trainings and backgrounds and niches that we all do. That's okay. But if you don't have the core concepts of doula work down, it creates a big disaster. And that's where we're heading in this industry. So IDLM takes this very seriously, so much so that this year we launched an advisory board that our students can choose to take and take a test in front of them and proctor exam in front of that advisory board that is made up of doctors, funeral directors, nurses, grief doulas, and grief specialists, and you know, celebrants and things like that, that they can go from above and be proctored exams from, and receive a certificate and a background from somebody that says, yeah, this person really does know what they're doing. And I think that for right now, that's the best that I can do here at IDLM. But, you know, these other things of saying an actual certification, you know, still is not going to mean anything because they're not holding the schools accountable, and they're not, it's not good. Anyways, all right, I digress. All right, so our doulas non-governed, and again, there are no accreditations. Doulas operate in a non-governed field and are currently, and there is no accreditation for doula programs. Now, some doula programs or some organizations may claim that they're accredited. This is a huge red flag because there's no such existence of this. Many programs label themselves as doula training programs, but in reality, they're more focused in exploring mortality or spiritual journeys rather than providing practical tools, okay? So keep that in mind. Another common issue is that programs promise to equip you with everything you need to know and all this and that, but they fail to deliver. As a trainer and as a practicing doula, we often hear from students who experience what we call skim the surface syndrome. Programs that provide only a superficial of information or leave out crucial aspects entirely. Here at IDLM, we're constantly updating our material, and we don't charge our students to receive that material. They get that for free. They get continuing education. They have a 24 credits every 2 years that they have to have done to continue to be, you know, to say that you're an IDLM doula, that you've trained with IDLM. Excuse me, I said that wrong. But some of our longest standing programs are really, really guilty of that. And unfortunately, they often take students' money without adequately preparing them for the responsibility of doula work. Actually, and one of the biggest things that I hear is, I took a program, and when I went into the program, I had questions, but when I left, I had more questions than I came in with. And you should never feel that way. Your questions should be answered as you're going along that program. And that is why we do like our live online classes. They are live and interactive, just like we are here today. They're interactive, they are live, and you can interact with the instructors. They're not webinar-based courses. So, let's see, I lost my little note here. Okay, so another big important thing that I want to talk about here is, you know, being comprehensive and that practical support and that supporting training to empower you throughout your journey. So we're going to talk a little bit more. What should a certification program offer? So I can speak for what we offer, and I can tell you what we hear from students, but we offer a comprehensive training program that equips doulas to address full spectrum of end-of-life needs, whether you're seeking a foundational knowledge or wishing to specialize and expand your practice. Our programs are designed to guide you and set you up for success. We also prepare doulas to support both progressive thinkers and those who just want to plan ahead, because some people like to plan for those individuals and navigating those unpredictable life things, needing urgent guidance, things, you know, different things that could happen. We provide that type of education for you to be able to do that. A well-trained doula, though, keep this in mind, a well-trained doula understands the importance of balancing long-term planning and addressing pressing and immediate needs. So we train our doulas to serve both clients and their chosen families, offering support through every stage of the end-of-life process. In our curriculum, it includes, you know, things such as legacy work, for preparing important documents, final stages of planning, family education, grief support. You know, there's just a wide range of offering that we do. And you'll see here in a little bit what we do cover. But a doula's work doesn't just end with the immediate need of the family. Doulas become entrusted in long-term companions, much like a professional. Think about it. You know, back in the day, we used to have doctors or mechanics that our family, everybody in our family would call to use, right? Not so much now, but that's what that doula becomes. You become ingrained in that family. So just the other day, I had a client that I got called out on one of those urgent cases because we didn't feel like we knew what was happening. And their dad was dying. I went and I served the family. Guess what? A week later, they called me that the grandmother was dying and they needed help. So they knew to call me right away, and I got there and I helped them. So you really do become a part of that family network and that team of that family, because you're going to be that one. Oh, I need advanced planning. Let me call Anna. She'll take care of it. Or, you know, oh, Uncle Harry's been in and out of the hospital. Something's going. Hey, Anna, can you go see Uncle Harry? I want you to go see him. Tell us what you think, because we don't know where we need to help him at. We don't know if it's time for hospice. We don't know if it just needs help and getting rehab or what's going on. So I go out there and I assess what's going on, and then I say, hey, you know what? This is the resources that we have in our community that can help you. So we're not just there to be there at the little term of end of life. No, we're there from beginning to through end of life. So I can definitely tell you that here at IDLM, we're definitely committed to providing and training, not only preparing doulas to navigate the complexity of end of life, but also ensuring that they are equipped to foster meaningful, lasting relationships with all the families that they support. So why are end of life doulas needed if hospice is available is a question I get quite often. So let's explore that a little bit. Doulas are essentials, even with hospice care. And I always say, it doesn't matter if you have hospice or not, doulas, and even if you do have hospice, you need to have a doula, period. We all need a doula right here, right now, at our age, wherever we're at in life, we all need a doula. Our elder care population, let's just be real, that is growing, and families are needing more support. The insurances are making it really, really difficult to have extra support, to have to navigate even. And so there is that medical care that lacks. And so doulas fill in that gap, and we're there to offer that human touch, that human support, that empathy, and being there and helping them guide that. We offer vital support as they need, you know, for elder care population growth. And we're there to provide a bridge between medical and being able to personalize and provide compassionate guidance families are often seeking through a hard time. Also, you need to understand that there is limitations faced by hospice teams, okay? Through our whole entire medical system right now, okay? There's high numbers of nurses and people leaving the medical field. And also our guidelines from Medicare reimbursement guidelines, they keep making things more stricter, more difficult to work with and to make, allowing people to really do their job. And so hospice staff can't spend time like they have been in the past. Their time is limited. And the healthcare again, is facing those staffing shortages, which further impacts that ability for hospice support. Consider the nature of end-of-life care. It's 24/7. It just doesn't stop when they leave. And so this is where end-of-life doulas can become so valuable for the families and everybody that's out there, because we work collaborative with hospice and we complement the medical care by filling in those gaps. And this partnership really ensures that both medical and emotional support is there and can be taken care of and be addressed. But having doulas as a part of that care team, as you're, you know, just looking at yourself as an individual, having yourself be a part of that care team, the family receives comprehensive support during these critical times that they may have coming up. So as we compare hospice and end-of-life doulas, let's focus on three of these key here. First, hospice primarily manages the medical care, which is crucial, right? But doulas come in to reinforce that care, providing non-medical support. This partnership really helps to keep that comprehensive care for the patient and the family. Secondly, I want you to consider a huge difference in hiring. Doulas are often private paid, hired, or contracted, and we're offering personalized attention, whereas hospice services are generally covered by insurance, and there's the type and flexibility of care can vary. Lastly, I want to point out that hospice professionals can pronounce the death, of course, right? That's the big difference. They're going to provide the bereavement care, and as a doula, though, we're going to provide all the non-medical care. We're going to support the family through bereavement, and our role is more holistic in attending to the emotional needs that accompany the end-of-life journey. Really thinking as our role also as an advocate. I have actually, I had a case manager call me yesterday, and I said, "Did you use the term end-of-life doula?" Because one of my other team members from the hospice told her to call me. She said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you know what? Wait until tomorrow and just tell them that you have a personal advocate that you want to support him, and then leave me the rest." And she said, "Okay." Because by using that term, this person was not accepting of his diagnosis, which was a terminal cancer. And in some families and some people are like that. So I always tell my hospice staff, don't tell them I'm an end-of-life doula. Tell them, hey, our company provides you your own personal advocate who is a resource for you. And I'm going to have her call you and reach out to you. And then let me go in there because I know how to exactly say it without scaring them, and talk about it with them. So when I go in, I start telling them all the things that I do. And then I tell them, but my role can also be called a doula. And they're like, huh? Sometimes you'll hear, well, I've only known about birthing doulas. And I tell them, well, I handle everything after birth. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And so then it's not as harsh or rough to them. And I find that they like that a lot better. So just keeping in mind, these are the services here that you can see, and they, yes, are similar, but there's groups of rules and regulations, whereas we do not have that, and we can provide a different aspect of care. All right, so how do you know if becoming a doula is for you? It can be different for a lot of people, but I want you to consider your personal qualities. Can you be non-judgmental? Can you meet people where they are? Are you able to hold space for a complex of emotions? Can you offer comfort and support? And perhaps one of the most profound abilities, can you sit with someone when they're dying? Can you be around that? But as you see listed here, there's a lot of different things that you could reflect on and see what resonates with you. Okay. But the big keyword too is also, can you learn the ability to be an advocate for your families that you're working with and your clients? Talking about income potential is very important. This is a question that I get quite asked quite often. So yes, end of life doulas can make money. This is a profession. It not only provides meaningful work, but you can make financial income. And the way you can achieve that is committing to yourself fully in this career path. Very straightforward. I'm going to tell you that if you don't do everything that we're sharing with you and helping you when it's time to set up your business, if that's what you're choosing to do, you're going to struggle. You're going to really struggle. But here we really provide a lot of support with our doulas to guide them through that and to work through that. I was telling you about one of their students that one of the places knew that they were an IDLM grad. She actually, and we don't recommend doing this, but she actually quit her job 6 years away from her retirement and went full force working into a doula role. That first couple months was scary. And I mean, we couldn't believe, we were like, girl, why'd you do that? But she did, but she made it happen. And now she has so many clients that she can't even, there's clients she has to turn away because her practice, it's a lot of the things that you're building and becoming a doula and doing your practice is by word of mouth. And also getting out into your community. I don't know if any of y'all seen our social media posts recently, but getting, there's a video up there of me and one of our doulas out there at a networking event, meeting with other providers and getting our, so people know who we are and educating them about what we do. So you got to get out there. You got to be in your community. Social media is great, but think about where your clients are going to be looking for you at. Think about where your clients are going to be looking for you at. But we go through quite a bit and we help you by giving you free one-on-one support. We have our doula mentoring group that meets. We have a business 101. We give you tons of resources. All you have to do too is just ask for help when you need it. But you have a community that will support you in this. Here at IDLM, we offer a training. Our training is a multi-specialist training, which is the companion, life planning, contemplative, and end-of-life doula all rolled up into one. We do also offer additional specialties such as pediatrics, life planning, grief support, dementia care, medical aid in dying. But once a student completes the certification or the course with us, they do receive discounts for other future courses, and they get their free continuing education. They get the opportunity to definitely expand and move forward. We do offer a live class in person in certain locations. And it's definitely growing. We're opening a third location in Texas, which is Dallas. We have Louisiana. We have New Jersey. We have Brooklyn. We have Wisconsin, Minnesota, Northwestern Arkansas. And we're going to be opening in Tennessee this year, Florida, and Ohio this year. But it is definitely growing right now. And so, but if we're not in one of your states, you can join us with our live online class as well. We do also offer a self-pace, and the self-pace, you can go as fast or as slow as you like. You won't have me, saying, hey, did you do your homework? Or how many chapters did you get done this week? No, you go as fast or as slow as you need to, and you let us know when you're done so we can get you your certificate. All right, course modules. So I'm not going to read all these because we just went to 45 modules but I'm going to hit on some really important things here. We do also talk about the Doula 101 is more talking about your doula basics. Then Doula 102 is where we break into really truly understanding what is home health, what is hospice, what is palliative services, and hospice. So it's just all of those different types of services and really truly understanding what they are so you know where to direct your patients, your clients at that you're working with. We're even this year talking about insurances and end of life and how does that apply for them to get the services and support they need. We do apprenticeships throughout our program. Those apprenticeships are, think of it as your skills component to your doula training. We have partnerships with Barbara Carnes, so we have access that y'all have permission to watch This Is How People Die by Barbara Carnes. We have partnerships with the Hospice Care Plan, Odonata Care. It's an amazing book that is one of our books that is a required of our programming. We also have a discount code. So if you like to, you'll learn about the death deck and the EOL deck and the dementia deck that they just came out with latter part of last year. You get a special discount code. That's an optional thing if you want to buy or not. We don't require that. We're even taking it a step further, and we are doing a death over dinner in class so that you can see what that's like to bring it into your community, whether you're doing it as an open forum for your community, or if you want to just do it for your friends and family to open up those conversations. We do talk about medical aid in dying, VSED, grief, infection control, common diseases, pediatrics, and parallel. And I want to point out that each and every little bullet point that you're seeing here, these are individual modules, okay? I had a student tell me, oh my God, I went to this program and they had, and it was an hour and 50-minute video that we had to watch that was grief, peds, and pet loss in an hour and 50 minutes. And I was like, are you kidding me? I said, that's like a 6-hour training in our classes here. So it is very in-depth. It is very comprehensive that you're doing here. Legacy. And so if you're in the self-paced, everything, of course, you're just reviewing on your own. If you're in the live online class, there are some self-study modules that we won't teach live because, like, for example, Code of Ethics. Code of Ethics is Code of Ethics. It's not really changing. So we have that so we can spend time on more of the other complex of stuff. We do require students to do case studies, and nothing to be scared about that. We do also talk about end-of-life religions and how to present to your hospice community and your community in general. We talk about, a lot of different topics here that you'll see. And again, we have those apprenticeships throughout. You'll have assignments and a case study to complete, quizzes, and one final exam. And let me see, how are we on time? This one is a really short case study that I'll show that a student of ours did, just so you can kind of get a little bit of an idea. Please let me know if you can't hear the video.
Hi, I'm Marilyn LaFrance-Shapka from Soulful Transitions. I've been an end-of-life doula now for 3 years. I'm going to share with you what my experience was like and some of the details when providing end-of-life doula services for one of my clients. I still recall the initial telephone conversation I had with my client's wife, Cecile, yet back in September 2021. Her voice sounded very nervous, anxious, and totally confused with what her family had just been faced with. She began to tell me that her husband, Mike Robertson, age 67, was diagnosed 2 days ago with an advanced stage of liver cancer, and that the doctors gave him only 3 months to live. She expressed to me that they wanted to meet as soon as possible, as they had no idea what to do or where to begin. We set up a date for our initial meeting. At the in-person intake, I went through all the questions in the enrollment package with them. There was so much that came out from this meeting. They shared their true sentiments about how they viewed sacredness of life. They shared the importance of family. Mike expressed that he was not afraid of death itself, but rather feared what he didn't know. This was a perfect moment to bring out the Barbara Carnes book, A Time to Live. It took about 15 minutes to read the book together. I asked Mike if there was anything that stood out to him in what we had read. He said that there was, but he didn't want to share at the moment. I learned that Mike was a father of 8 adult children and 17 great-grandchildren. He was so proud of his legacy. He was self-employed and had a very successful plumbing business. He expressed that he was going to make sure that his business was looked after, which amazingly he did, despite how ill he was. He was very organized and had wonderful staff that helped him with many of the details. It was recommended by the doctors that Mike be on palliative care, as there was no hospices in his area. The family decided that it was best for him to be at home to live his final days. I was in touch with the health unit nurse that was assigned to him, and we made sure that he had all necessary equipment, medication, and comforts that he would need to be at home. Mike's children and wife were sad, yet honored to be able to be there for him and take turns to help with all of his needs. We created a schedule and set up a family chat so that all were informed. I had made arrangements with a family friend to come and build a pony wall that divided the small room off of the main living area of the main level, because Mike wanted his privacy, but yet in the comfort of his home, he still wanted to be active with what was happening and still be able to rest as needed. Mike shared with me that he wanted a lot of company and welcomed all family and as many friends as possible to come and visit him. He said, "I want to be able to say goodbye to as many people as I can." His son Philip gladly took on this responsibility to message, call, and email as many people to come to the house and visit. This was a huge success. For a period of 2 weeks, over 50 people came at various times of the day for short but meaningful visits. After a week went by, on one of my visits, I asked Mike and Cecile if they had a personal directive made out for Mike, which they had, and I wasn't surprised with how organized they were. They provided me with a copy, and I double-checked to make sure that the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. They also shared with me that they had both prearranged and paid funerals. Now that was wonderful, but I still wanted to make sure that Mike was given the opportunity to express if he wanted any details written down for his funeral. Because this all happened during COVID and there were restrictions for gatherings, he made it very clear to me that he wanted his funeral outside on his family farm. I made sure that we were able to rent a large tent, chairs, and an altar for when the day came. He shared with me several details that he envisioned would take place. And I made sure that when the time came that these details were fulfilled. The days were getting more and more difficult for Mike, as there was a noticeable difference in his breathing. His words were fewer, as each one of his breaths were more and more impaired. A care plan booklet came in handy for family members and the nurses, who were able to record the times that his medication was administered, when he had bowel movements. They recorded any nausea, vomiting, or discomfort, and many other things. It was obvious that Mike's daughter, Vanessa, had read through the care plan booklet, because she told me that when a person is actively dying, they may have a shortness of breath, which brings on discomfort and needs to be addressed. And there was a noticeable difference in Mike's breathing in the past couple days. I assured her that I would be in touch with the doctor and let him know about the rapid change in his breathing, and that they would probably prescribe him benzodiazepine to help with his anxiety. The death process was approaching rapidly. I knew that they only had a few days left. So I suggested to the children and grandchildren to make their visits shorter with more meaning, and that this was a perfect opportunity to create legacy projects. Some of the children did hand casts with their dad and grandfather. Some made videos with him nestled into bed, and others read scripture out loud to Mike, as he was a devout Catholic. With all the visitors that Mike had, I was sure grateful that I had 5 minutes with him alone one day, because I felt that there was something that was bothering him. So I opened up to him and expressed my thoughts. I said, "Mike, on one of the first meetings with you, I read a small booklet. Do you remember that?" "Yes, I do," he said. "I asked you if there was anything that resonated with you, and you mentioned that there was, but that you didn't want to talk about it then. Are you wanting to talk to me about anything now?" Mike stared up at the ceiling with a gaze that was long and hard. It was very difficult for him to tell me, but he did. He told me about a friend that he had had a falling out with many years ago, that he felt in his heart that he wanted to make amends with him. I assured him that I would get on this immediately. Luckily, with the right connections, I was able to reach this friend. After explaining to him Mike's situation, he was glad and willing to come and see Mike. I cannot tell you what happened behind those doors when the two of them were alone, but all I can say is that Mike's face and spirit was freed. He was now at peace. He was now ready to go to his forever home. After the funeral, I met a few more times with Cecile and some of her children. I shared with them several resources on grief, but we mainly talked about how grief is love turned inside out.
So I hope that this kind of helps a little bit to share with you a little bit what doula work can look like. We do offer, again, a free business 101 course that has 7 modules. We do teach it live. It is a self-paced course, but we do teach it live several times throughout the year. We just did one last week, and then we'll have one in the summer. We do an online graduation. We also provide you a physical certificate that is mailed to you. We have a listing for our IDLM doulas. We have book club. We have grief support group for our doulas. We have continuing education. We have online ongoing graduate support. We also allow you to have free access once you take a course with us. If anything gets changed or updated, you get free access at no charge for that to have that access to those updates to the courses. We do family events. We have state doula groups and just so much more in our community app, which is called The Movement. And I'm going to take you in there really quick just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So let me switch screens here. Sorry, my allergies have been terrible. All right, so this is The Movement. And we have, it's just like a Facebook, think of it as Facebook, but it's off of Facebook. And it just has a feed and you're allowed to get information and announcements and all kinds of great stuff here for you to utilize and have access to and learn more from. You can be able to go up here and hit, let's say we want to know about pet doulas or something to do with pets. Type in pets, it's going to look in all spaces, and it's going to tell you people that have taken pet doula programs. We had a CE night, and you'll be able to access those previous recordings as well. So a lot of different ways you can search up information that we have in here. We have a lot of different groups, as you can see listed here. We have a death positive talk. That's usually, I believe it's the first Friday of the month. We have grief support group that happens for the doulas, mentoring, all kinds of different little groups here for everybody. Get that into. We do offer payment plans. They are listed on our website. And if those don't work, you can always reach out. If that doesn't work for your budget, you can reach out to me personally. I am going to put my phone number in the chat box for you. And so you're probably wondering when and how much and all that good stuff. You can currently, our prices are listed on the website. There is, like I said, a payment plan. We do have an upcoming online class that starts on the 26th. I know we have some people signed up from here tonight from New Jersey. That class starts on the, oh my gosh, that starts not this weekend, but next weekend on the 31st, I believe. Our Louisiana class will start in March. San Antonio class in Austin starts the first week of February. But you can go to our website and it's split up where you can see live in person. And I want to take you there real quick. So just so you know what it looks like, if you go to, I don't know why I just got bubbles on our screen. Come on, let's see here. Let's change over to this tab. So this is our main website, and you will go to student, or excuse me, not student dashboard. We're going to go to courses. Let's go back. I hit the wrong button there. You'll go to courses. And if you want in person, you click here. If you want live online, you click here. If you want self-paced, they're right there for you. So you'll be able to access the course listings there. And it'll give you all the details there for you. I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting. I know we have a few graduates here with us today, so I'd like to just open up and allow if any of our graduates would like to share just real briefly so we can get to some Q&As for our those that are here to learn more. If you would like to share why you chose IDLM, if you had previous training before, and what did you enjoy, or what was your biggest takeaway here that you have enjoyed here at IDLM? Tina.
Hi. My son's here with me. Please don't mind him joining. So I am so grateful. I joined IDLM for the last course that ended in December. Please do not. And I had already been a doula, and I had a certification that was like a Udemy certification and then a university certification. And IDLM was leaps and bounds better than anything that I had learned from either of those places. I've also already worked in a hospice and have been doing this work most of my life, but the actual education and the community and the love and just everything, it is so empowering to be a part of it. And if you are on the fence, this is absolutely just like this is home. It feels like being a part of IDLM.
Oh, thank you. And we're so glad you're a part of our family. Barbara.
I was working in hospice and as a complementary therapist. And it was my experiences going in and out of facilities and seeing people dying and they were alone, or the families were asking me questions instead of the people in the facility or their hospice nurse or whatever. And I started looking around to see what else could we do to work in this environment. And I found End of Life Doulas, started going down the rabbit hole of looking at other, schools and curriculums. And I kept going back to IDLM, and I took their discovery, and then I took their doula foundation course. The information was excellent, but what kept me coming back was the community and the support, because anyone else that I spoke to pretty much was like one and done. They took the classes, they graduated, and they never interacted with where they were. I have friends after I think I graduated in 22. I don't remember anymore. It seems like forever.
Second year that you took our courses.
Yeah, it seems like I've been with you all forever. But I actually have created friendships through this, which is support as well. And anybody I refer to IDLM, I give them Anna's number and I tell them, call Anna. She picks up the phone. And somewhere I get a text back that said, I spoke to Anna. Like they cannot believe that the owner and founder of the school actually will get on the phone with you and answer all your questions. So it's the community that keeps me, and I've taken multiple classes and audited classes because information has changed. I couldn't see myself going anywhere else but IDLM.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you so much. Yeah, so like I said, we're a family, so we get to know each other. I mean, if I'm in town and I'm like, hey, someone's down here, Miss Barbara has been so gracious at times when I've been in New Jersey to drive me around, and so has Penny, and get me in around wherever I need to go when I'm there. Penny.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate the community and family is absolutely the best thing about IDLM. Our courses are in depth. They're tremendous. The courses are great. But like Barbara said, the reason we keep coming back is for the community and the support. It's ongoing support. Once you start the work, if you have questions, if you get in a situation not sure what to do, you can call Anna, you can call one of us. Anna does mentoring calls. It's just unbelievable how much the community support really makes us all feel like family. So that is what I wanted to say. And I'm now an instructor as well as a doula.
Penny leads our Louisiana area. So, so we're very, very different. We're a very tight-knit community here at IDLM. So I'd like to open up to see if any of you all will have any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, Lynn.
So back to this hospice versus doula. So I'm a social worker, so I know a lot about social work, but not in a hospice. So doesn't the social worker on the hospice team do a lot of this work, or do they not really have the time for it because there's so many cases? And so they end up doing a lot more like very concrete resource work. And that's where the doula comes in because there's a different time. I'm trying to figure that piece out.
Yeah, so go ahead. Or wait, we got Barbara and Penny.
I'm sorry. I had two in my last class in Baton Rouge. I had two hospice social workers who took my doula class. And the reason they did that was because they had, and it's one of the best hospices in Louisiana. They each have 70 clients at a time. So there is no way they can spend the time that we can spend with our clients. And yes, they do some of this work, but 1 hour a week or 1 hour every other week or once a month is as much as they could possibly spend with a patient. So it really, they're really very limited by their time. And that's because of insurance. Hospice is now a medical, it's on medical insurance, whether it's Medicare or private insurance, and the funds are limited, and that pays for the doctor, the nurse, the social worker, the CNA.
Okay. That's what I figured. It was like, just like hospital work for nurses. They're just running. Okay.
Exactly.
I will say too, like for my hospice, they love it when they know either one, I'm bringing them a client, or number two, that I go out to see a family, because I'll get things started. I'll start out talking to them about funeral homes. I'll start talking to them about getting an MPOA done, all of that. But also too, one of the things is hospice social workers basically go in and do what we call the down and dirty. They will get an MPOA, get the funeral. But guess what? They don't encourage families, or I've not yet met a hospice that a social worker's already gone in and helped to do the advanced planning, get the disposition form done.
Okay.
We as doulas, we go way deep. We even go more intensive than an attorney that the people think they have to go see to do their advanced directives. We go way more in depth into that. So, and I'll let Barbara hit on it too, and then we'll go to Shayna, because Barbara has taken our advanced planning course here at IDLM as well.
Most of I worked in hospice. Once I was certified by IDLM, I quit hospice. And I just went back out into my community as much as I could to educate people about what an end of life or death doula is. Also, my social workers that I used to work with and my chaplains are my biggest referral for end of life doula work.
Oh.
Okay. They don't have the time. It's not that they don't want to do it, but they are confined sitting in team every other week. And I would hear a social worker say, can I see this person? They want to see me more, or they don't want to see them at all. If they wanted to see, the patient wanted to see them more, they were told, no, you get this time, or no physical visit, make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And if they couldn't get in to see that patient, that was me. Because I was going in as a non-medical person. I was a massage therapist, reflexologist, and all. I had a whole hour with this person. And what I would do is I would take my social worker with me, or my chaplain with me, saying that they were shadowing me. And that's how I got them in there.
Okay.
Okay. My former hospice colleagues are the ones that help me. They know that we're needed. And when I was asked to work with the hospice that I was leaving to do end of life doula work, they wanted me to subscribe to the same time limits as their nurses, their chaplains, their social workers, their CNA. And I was like, no. The reason I came to end of life doula was so I wasn't constrained by time, nor Medicare, nor anything like that. So, yeah. And when I sit down to do your advanced care plan with you, we end up with an accordion folder full of information, things all separated. And I just got hired by a law firm to
Wow.
do that for them, an elder care attorney, because they don't do that. And I just found out they're not really sure what to do.
Mm.
They know the law. They know the law.
Mhm.
Even with medical aid in dying, they know the law, but they don't know how to present it to their clients.
Yeah.
So I do a 3-part series called Gentle Conversations Around Death and Dying.
Okay.
And we cover that all with their clientele. So you could really take this any place you want, but we provide more information. I'm starting to get into now the funeral directors around. That's good. And I decided to try the churches as well, because I noticed that in my community, the majority of the churchgoers, regardless of what denomination they are older people.
Mm-hmm.
So older people don't want to. One guy told me, "Don't give me your business card. I don't want you to jinx me."
Well, and it's funny you bring that up too, because recently, our my assistant and our regional manager here, we've been working a lot, and last week I had 3 referrals that they put in parent request into the church. Guess what? They all had terminal diagnosis, and they also all of them had cancers that had metastasized, and none of them had hospice services. One that went on to hospice services this last week came on to service and died within 3 days. Not even having hospice services. So, Shayna? Oh, you're muted, Hen.
Thank you. Hi. So I work in a hospice, and I have had like the amazing opportunity to see like the social workers in action. And maybe we're just lucky, but they are able to do a lot of what us as doulas do. So they'll do all the advanced directives. They will sign them up for Meals on Wheels. They will figure out everything that they can for our patients whenever they have the opportunity to. And so in my position, I've had, in some ways, it's been like a challenge, but also a huge learning opportunity where I get to learn how I can have that symbiotic relationship with the social workers and the rest of the hospice team, because they are capable of doing a lot of like what I can do. So I get to look and see what else, I can do with these patients, be that weekly cooking that they can eat, or, aftercare and different types of things. So you're going to see different things in different hospices. But I also want to say thank you for doing social work, because it's really, really beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And that's one thing too, we do teach our doulas, to connect with the social workers, and work along the side of them, especially the social workers and our chaplains, because they do get into overwhelming worlds. But also another aspect too is that when they come on to services, they can typically, a lot of them will deny having a social worker. So a social worker or a chaplain may never even get into the home. And in a lot of the times it's us as doulas saying, no, we need to bring in the social worker. We need to have the social worker come help us with this. And because we do watch our boundaries and our roles, right? And so I've had to encourage, no, we need to have the social worker come out. This is what they can help us do. Or we need to run this through the social worker and see what maybe other options we may have, and see if we can collaborate, because 2 heads are better than 1. So there's a lot of different options. Yeah, very much so.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anne, or y'all have any questions? Anne?
Hello, thank you very much for this presentation. I'm probably putting the cart in front of the horse, but I have a marketing question. I cringe as I say that. How many doulas have a professional business name or a website or something that shows the professionalism or the credibility of what they're doing? I don't want to sound insensitive, but at the same time, I want to be able to be visible to the community. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, Shayna and Barbara, raise your hand. I know Penny too. We all have our websites, but I do want to point out that it's great to have a website. It's great to do your social media, But your true doula work is getting out into your community.
Yes, of course, I would do that. And I appreciate everything everybody has said, connecting with the churches and the funeral directors. And I myself am going to be starting in-home care for people to help maintain their independence with a facility who has not heard of an end-of-life doula. And so I'm looking forward to breaking into communities here in Eau Claire, thanks to Dawn, who introduced me to the community and work here. But yeah, of course, that goes without saying. Networking is the number one power move that a person could have in this, and along with compassion and along with, providence and all that. But I was just wondering about the professionalism of having that for people to see.
Have it. If you can have it, you can do it. Great. I will tell you, and Shana will tell you too, there's a lot of people in IDLM too that can help our graduates with a lot of the different stuff with websites and things. And, but I do tell doulas too, there's some people who cannot afford to get the website and things like that up. So we do have that conversation as well. But Shana, I know you can probably elaborate more on the website stuff than I can. I've been.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I've been doing websites and social media and full stack digital marketing since over a decade. Let's say that. And I fully encourage anybody who's doing any type of business to support themselves by showing up for themselves. To have that forward facing, this is who I am, this is who I do. You want branding, you want consistency, but it is not excuse me, doggo, just a moment. It's not an absolute must right away. What's important is you putting your heart and out there and just getting with patients and volunteering where you can, and getting ready. And then when you are set, that's when it's time to get your website and start marketing. And there are lots of options from $500 full setups on up, depending on where you want to go for people who need things lower. It's like, it's out there and you don't have to do a huge thing, but if it's something you want, then you totally can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heather, I saw that you had your hand up too. And you're muted, but we'd love to hear from you.
No, that was an accident. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Do you have any questions for us?
I guess the one thing I like legally, what are the risks as far as like lawsuits, things like that? Because, what protections are there for people? People like to sue, they're sue happy. So, yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about that aspect.
So there is liability insurance that you can get as a doula, but I'm going to tell you, in my 25 years, I've never had that issue.
Okay.
Because people call me at a time of crisis. And because I've always conducted and treated my doula business as a professional business, it's never been a problem for me. And the doulas that don't follow some type of code of ethics and scope of practice, those are the ones that are at a higher risk of having a liability issue. And they are the ones that are almost like waving for trouble, I would say, in a way, because they don't know those boundaries and those lines. And here at IDLM, we're one of the schools here, and I will tell you, I learned this very at the beginning of IDLM. A lot of people were like, well, yeah, but I took a program here and there, and they said we didn't need to follow HIPAA. Excuse me, you're a professional doula. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So again, but there is doula insurance that you can carry. And then we always tell you too, especially if you have assets, you would want to file an LLC for sure. But if you are in a state, for example, that does medical aid in dying, there are some things you want to do to cover your CYA yourself, of course. But a lot of times people are calling because they're in crisis and you're saving them from that crisis. So I personally have never had an issue. And I run 2 care homes that deal with end of life, and I have my private practice and everything else. So. Good. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Any questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I do want to remind you, we do have an online class starting on the 26th. That's the first day of orientation. And then, of course, we have other locations starting from the end of January going into February, March. We have classes that are going to be in person at different locations. So please visit our website and check those out. And you're always welcome to give me a call. I'm going to go ahead and put my phone number in the chat box, and this is my direct number. If I'm in a meeting or I'm doing something, I can't get to the phone, my assistant, usually I hand her my phone and she'll grab it and she'll say, and I'll call you right back. Or she may be able to answer your question for you, but that's my cell number. The email is just Anna@International Doula Life Movement.com. Okay. And our website, of course, is International Doula Life Movement.com as well.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. And if any of y'all have any questions, again, like I said, feel free, don't hesitate, give us